Hello and welcome back, or welcome if you're new. If you're new here, my name is Elena. I'm the homeschooling mama to 3 kiddos, and here on the channel we talk about everything from homeschooling to homemaking, all the things in between. Let's dive into it. We're going to make some elderberry syrup and attempt to make some elderberry gummies today too. So no matter how hard, I always seem to have like a dozen different things going on in the kitchen at all times. And even little simple things, it is what it is. So I apologize for the clutter in the background. It's real life here. What we were gonna do is I was gonna make some elderberry gummies. I bought some gummy molds from Hobby Lobby the other day. They're a little wet, so they're drying out right now, but there's not too many on these molds. They're kind of small, but I bought both. They called these gummy rings and then gummy bears. They were on sale at Hobby Lobby, so I will look up the receipt and put the price up for you, the regular price, and I think they were like at 40% off. If you wait long enough, usually Hobby Lobby has their bakeware stuff that goes on sale every so often. So we purchased these, and intent, I wanted to make some elderberry gummies. We have been making our own elderberry syrup and my kids will take it, but I thought it would just be fun to have a gummy sometimes for them. I've looked up a couple different ways on the gummies, how long they last. I don't think you could make like a ton ahead of time and then keep them. I think you just have to kind of use them up as you go through it, but I don't see that being a problem for us. Most projects in my kitchen though, one project led to another. So we do have some elderberry syrup that was already made, but I think it's going to take up the last of our syrup to make the gummies, and I want to make sure that I have more syrup at the ready for my husband and I, because it is that season. So I thought I'd walk you through making the syrup first and then going through the process of trying to make gummies. This is our first time trying to make gummies, so hopefully it works. So for the gummies, you are going to need already made elderberry syrup that is room temperature or slightly warmer. You don't want it to be hot because it will interact with the gelatin that you're also going to use. So my elderberry syrup usually makes a jar full and I put it in the fridge to keep it. So this has been in the refrigerator and I need it to come to room temperature before I can make it into gummies. So let me walk you through first, if you've never made elderberry syrup, how we make it. I just follow a recipe from wellnessmama.com. I will leave that link for you down below. There are different variations that you can make, but this is the one that we've been using from the beginning, and it's kind of one of those things where it's been working, so we're going to keep on keeping with it. What you're going to need for your elderberry syrup is elderberries. These are dried elderberries. I got these from Frontier. They may be available like at Azure or something like that. I will leave a link down below for you if I can find them. So I just keep ours in a jar here. I ordered a pound at a time. You're also going to need ginger, cinnamon, and cloves. Our cloves are in a reusable jar, so that's why it says Sprouts on there. But that's the seasonings, I guess, that you would use. I don't know. It would really be called seasonings. And then you're also going to need honey, preferably local raw honey. That's where you're going to get like a lot more benefits from your honey. So you want to aim to get at least a raw honey. You can make this on the stovetop, and I have done that in the past, but ever since I figured out we can do it in the Instant Pot, that has been my best friend, and I've been doing it that way. So we're going to make it in the Instant Pot today. Okay, in my Instant Pot, I have 3.5 cups of water. To that, I'm going to add 2/3 cups of dried elderberries. And then in here, I have the cloves, which is 1/2 teaspoon, 2 tablespoons of ginger, and then 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. You could use actual ginger, like ginger cloves. You could use cinnamon sticks, but I like to have the spices just on hand and ready to roll, so we have it. You don't have to give it a stir, but I like to stir it a little to get the spices kind of blended into that water, because that's what's going to be that syrup, the syrup. So I just give it a good mix. Then you're going to put your lid on. Make sure you're sealed. Your vent is sealed. So you want to put everything in there except the honey. You're going to put the honey in after. You don't want to put the honey in the pressure cooker. You want to save those nutrients for after. So we're going to let this go. I'm still waiting for my other syrup to come to room temperature. So for you, it'll just be a moment. Okay, we're going to release the pressure. Wasn't too much left in there. You don't have to let this naturally release. You can do it right away. And then you want to make sure that your keep warm button is off because you want this to start to cool down. I like to do this next part over the sink. I just have my strainer here. You could also use a cheesecloth if you wanted to. And we're gonna go ahead and just take everything that was in there and pour it in. And then I like to give the berries a little bit of a smash here, smush it down a little so I can make sure that we're getting every last drop of that elderberry goodness in here. And then if you compost, you could always compost these berries when you're done. And then I'm going to let this cool for just a little bit because I'm not sure if it's showing up on the camera, but it's still steaming and pretty hot. So I'm going to let it cool a little bit before I add it to the jar. Okay, I'm going to do this in the sink as well. What I usually like to do is use one of the mason jars that has the measurements on the side, but this one that we've been using didn't have it. Yes, it's the same one that I poured my old elderberry syrup out. We're going to just use the same jar. So I have the honey. I like to put the cup of honey in there first. My honey is already, you can see, kind of crystallizing. That's okay. I'm going to put this in here. I like to put it in the sink because it does make a mess, or I tend to make a mess. You ideally should not use plastic, but I don't have a non-plastic funnel. So I'm going to pour this in. And this is why I like to do it over the sink, because as you can see, I spilled a little, which isn't ideal, but it fills it right to the brim. I'm going to give it a gentle stir. I'm going to gently stir it to mix up that honey that's in there, just kind of break it apart. And then before we serve it, when I put it in the fridge and stuff, with the lid, I usually just give it a quick shake before we serve. Now my kids, as far as measurements go, serving size, we do 1 tablespoon for the whole family. My kids range from, the youngest is 7 and the oldest is 15. So 1 tablespoon just for preventative, I guess, like during the cold and flu season, we'll do 1 tablespoon a day. If someone ends up feeling like they're coming down with something, I'll bump it up to 2 tablespoons and we will do it. We'll give that 2 to 3 times a day. But you research for yourself and what you feel best is for you and your family. I'm just saying what we typically do. So I ended up putting the elderberry into 2 jars just so it wasn't so easy to spill when we opened it up. And this is how much it made. So this is just like, what size is this? A pint? A quart? No, this is a quart. Made about a little bit more than a quart. I know this one doesn't have the measurements on the side. And then we have this jar as well. So now we have elderberry syrup done. I just use a little bit of washi tape and write elderberry on it, and that's my label. And then I'll stick it in the fridge and we'll have elderberry syrup done. Okay, I'm going to loosely follow a recipe that I found online. Bear with me, I'll link that for you also down below, but let's get started on the gummies. I went ahead and I measured out what was left in the elderberry syrup that I had already made. This was 12 ounces, so roughly about 1.5 cups. I'm gonna put that in my pot and just slowly warm it. I don't want it to be hot, I just want it to be very lukewarm. And then I'm going to add in the gelatin. So for this, I guess I should have said, you'll need elderberry syrup. This recipe just calls for elderberry syrup and gelatin. So I have some beef gelatin here. It doesn't, most of the other recipes that I found call for additional water. This one didn't. So we'll see how it comes out. I'm also going to add in some camu, I think that's how you pronounce it, but essentially it's vitamin C powder. So I'm gonna add in some of this as well so that we kind of have an elderberry vitamin C gummy. I'm gonna put it on the absolute lowest flame that I can. My oven here is super tricky where if you get it too low, it will just shut off. So let's hope that doesn't happen. That is some of the honey down below that's sticking to the bottom. So I'm actually going to scrape that goodness right in there so we don't miss any of it, or try not to miss any of it. So I have different measurements than the recipe you'll see down below, so you'll want to either just follow that recipe exactly if this comes out right, or adjust to fit your needs. So I'm going to put in, because I had 1.5 cups of syrup, I'm going to put in 6 tablespoons of the beef gelatin and stir that up to set. Since I have this out, I'm going to go ahead and put in just a tablespoon of the vitamin C powder as well. And then shut the flame off so it hopefully doesn't set too quickly for me, and mix. Oh no, it's already trying to set. So I may need to add a little bit of water to this because I don't want it to set completely, because I want to be able to get it into the mold. And of course the battery is going to die. So, oh no, I think it's already setting. Change of plans. I'm not going to do the mini gummies, or let's see. Okay, they're not pretty. What I ended up doing is, because it was already hardening, was just picking up globs of it and putting it down and then smoothing it over with my spatula. So like I said, it's not pretty, and I ran out of small molds, but I didn't want to waste it. So I used our like silicone donut mold. You should probably grease it first, but these were so tiny that I didn't have spray coconut oil, and I just didn't want to like individually do each one, so I didn't do it. I didn't spray these. I probably have dyed these because elderberry syrup, it's hard to get out, so you got to clean up right away. So I'm gonna put these in the fridge and then clean off my table here too, because like I said, it's elderberry. I will say I did take a little piece of one of these and taste it. It doesn't taste too bad. So okay, I actually forgot these were in the fridge, so let's see if they'll pop out like gummies. Oh, I'm at a weird angle, but it popped out like a gummy. Let's try, ooh, and even bonus, there's no staining inside. Let's try a bear. My kids are here, my 2 youngest, waiting to see how they taste. That one popped out pretty easily too. It doesn't look too much like a bear, but that's to be expected because of how I smush it down. So I'm gonna let them taste it. Thanks. You taste that one, and then we'll hear what they say. They're having dinner, so what do you guys think?
I love it.
Does it taste good?
Way better than the store-bought.
I don't think it's better than the store-bought, but I'm glad you liked it. Yay! Okay, and that's gonna do it for us. I hope that you enjoyed this video, that it was at least entertaining to you, or give you some value. If you liked it, would you please give it a thumbs up? It helps me and the channel so much. And as always, if you don't know, or maybe you just need to be reminded, may you please be the one to tell you that you are deeply and truly loved and so appreciated. I really appreciate you taking your time out and hanging out with me here. Thanks for watching.